Hey guys, so in today's video, we're going to be going over the upcoming tropics pattern, going over the next 2 to 4 weeks or so, what we could start to expect as we're really getting towards the end of June into July. And I mean, as of right now, the National Hurricane Center is monitoring a disturbed area right off the South Carolina coast, which it has a very low chance of forming. It's 10%, and they don't really expect it to form at all. It says non-tropical low-pressure area located about 150 miles south-southeast of the North Carolina-South Carolina border is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms over portions of southeastern and eastern North Carolina, including the Outer Banks and adjacent Atlantic waters. The low is moving slowly toward the north-northeast, and a gradual turn toward the north is forecast later today. Environmental conditions are expected to remain unfavorable for significant development through tonight, when the low should move inland over eastern North Carolina. So, yeah, they're really not expecting this to form at all. But now the thing is, they've had a few of these areas that they've been watching, disturbed areas of weather that they've been watching, that have not formed really at all. But the thing that that I'm taking away from this really is that, from what we're seeing from this, is that the atmosphere is ready for, once the time comes, a disturbed area of weather or multiple disturbed areas of weather will have the chance to actually develop. And I mean, well, that's what we had with Arthur through Cristobal from mid-May through the early part of June. Pretty much all three of them happened one after the other, just like a week apart from each other or a few days apart from each other. So now let's go to tropical tidbits and current storms. So they did, the NHC has made this Invest 94L, but it's not really going to form, so I mean, that's fine. Well, the interesting thing, I guess, is that one of the three of the models do take it into tropical storm territory, though I don't know if that's really going to happen, honestly, because that I mean, for what they're showing, that's going to happen within the next 12 hours, really. Start to really happen within the next 12 hours. No, I'm not really expecting that at all. And the GEPS, it's the Canadian Ensemble members, I believe, they're showing it really not being all that strong at all. It's 1,016 right now, 1,014, maybe 1,013 at most. It'll strengthen down to, but yeah, it's really just it's not going to be doing anything. Let's go to the analysis tools. I do want to show this actually because for this hurricane season, as of now, the 2017 season is being shown as one of the seasons that this season could be somewhat similar with. And with the this is based off of the based on the 30-day based on the 30-day sea surface temperature anomalies analysis, but going with the based on, I'm not sure what NMME stands for, sea surface temperature anomalies hurricane season forecast. 2017 is still on there, and 2010 is also on there. So we do have 2 years in this that were both very active, especially 2017. A lot of us remember that. It was really the most active hurricane season, the most damaging hurricane season for the U.S. since 2005. Because 2010, it was, I know it was very active, but really maybe only one or two made landfall in the U.S., really impacted the U.S. But yeah, it's still interesting, really, really interesting. So now let's go to the ocean analysis. Look at the sea surface temperatures right now. As of today, at the 6Z run, today the Nino region 3.4 region is at negative 0.376 Celsius degrees below, negative 376 degrees Celsius below average. So it's definitely generally starting to get a bit cooler now. They did have a decent bit of a jump in the end of May through the beginning of June, very beginning of June, but now it's starting to cool back down a bit. So we'll just really have to keep an eye on that. And as you can see with the sea surface temperature difference from the global mean, it's a lot colder pretty much from the South America coast through the central Pacific, the central equatorial Pacific. And the 7-day change here, it's a bit of some of a change, especially closer towards the coast of South America and the more eastern parts of it, cooling down a good bit more. And then kind of change, cool. It's kind of more neutral, getting more neutral, going towards more of the central areas of the Enso region. So there's that. Now, I'm gonna show you the. I'm gonna show you. Oh, actually, I wanted to go to. Should I do North Atlantic? Let's do North Atlantic for now. All right, so this is what the GFS is showing for the North Atlantic going forward. Going through the rest of today into tomorrow into Thursday. Really nothing much going on. Just generally some rain and some precipitation just over some parts of the Atlantic, especially getting towards the Florida and South Carolina, southeast coast areas. And we are continuing to see some precipitation moving towards going from Africa towards the Caribbean, but it's really not doing too much now. But now this is going to June 24th, 25th, and you can see the precipitation getting into the Caribbean and just getting towards closer to home, getting towards the end of June, starts to get a lot more precipitation in these areas. So getting towards then, we'll really have to keep an eye out on that. But, as of right now, they're not really showing much tropical activity at all. But, of course, this is going to change between now and the end of June into the beginning of July. But really, the signs are definitely there. Let's go to the Atlantic Y here. And you can see right now it's nothing really going on. There's Invest 94L over there, but really we'll just have to keep our eyes out for getting towards the end of the month of June and into the beginning of July. Because this is actually a bit more important. I do think once we do get into the beginning of July, once we are in July, and I definitely do think that tropical activity will start to really pick up by the beginning of July and getting into July. I think once it really starts to pick up, the tropical activity starts to pick up, I think it will continue that way through the peak of the season. So this is our little lull and quiet time, really, before things will most likely start to go potentially bonkers, honestly. I do think this hurricane season of 2020 will really battle 2005 in terms of how busy and active and damaging it will be this year, because as of right now we already have 5 total fatalities of the season and total damage is already above $543 million. So we're getting already pretty close to the $1 billion mark, and it's not even really the end of June. It's the middle of June, really. It's mid-June, and we're already getting pretty close to that $1 billion mark. So for Bertha, as you can see, caused above $200 million in damage and 1 fatality. Cristobal caused a lot more damage, $343 million in damage, and that is generally and mostly because of the fact that it really stalled over the southern part of Mexico, the Yucatan, the Guatemala, El Salvador area, dumping tons of rain, creating tons of flooding problems, and landslides, I believe, happened as well. So that caused 4 deaths in total. Let's see. I think the majority of the deaths deaths happened in the Central American region. Yeah, I can't tell where it really talks about that right now, but yeah, I believe. I mean, I assume that most of the deaths happened in this area of southern Mexico, the Yucatan, El Salvador, Guatemala. Maybe one of the deaths happened here in Louisiana, Mississippi, but I think majority happened down there. Really just to wrap things up, again, the season has already started off to be quite active, having our first 3 systems already happen within, Bertha happened just a little more than a week after Arthur, and then Cristobal formed and was named just a few days after Bertha dissipated. You can see that here. Arthur happened May 16th and 19th, and then 8 days later, Bertha formed on May 27th, lasted a day, dissipated May 28th, and then Cristobal formed June 1st, about 3 days after Bertha dissipated, and lasted 9 whole days. It was a long-lasting system, really just mainly because it was stalling a lot over the very southern part of the Gulf of Mexico and the Bay of Campeche, and really hammering these areas of southern Mexico, the Yucatan, Guatemala, El Salvador. So I think since we've already had these first 3 named systems, it was just a really busy start. We had our first 2 systems even before the season officially started on June 1st, within the month of May. So going forward, once we really actually do get towards the beginning of July, the activity will start to pick up. We will see a bunch of storms most likely form. Yeah, that's really it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.